Good afternoon, folks. My name is Xavier Charles. Welcome to today's webinar. On today's webinar, we will be talking about smarter marketing execution with Microsoft Planner. Now, why Microsoft Planner, you may say? Not to be biased, but we are a Microsoft house. But beyond that, there are so many reasons organizations should be using Microsoft Planner as opposed to the other tools that are out there. And I want to cover some of those today. Now, on our marketing team, we have several projects running simultaneously, and we've tried multiple applications. But we found that Microsoft Planner meets most, if not all of our needs in one application. So I want to dive into that today. And if you will go with me on that adventure, we'll talk through some of the benefits, the key things that we find beneficial for marketing teams, why we've moved from other platforms to this tool, and also how you can leverage this tool for your organization. So let's dive in. So who is Synergy Technical? Synergy Technical is a Microsoft cloud service provider headquartered here in Richmond, Virginia. One of our accolades is that we were named the Microsoft 365 Security Deployment Partner of the Year. What does that mean? That means companies trust us above all to be their security deployment partner as they onboard all of their security applications from Microsoft. We've deployed over 3 million cloud licenses globally. We have experience in over 70 countries, and we've worked with companies of all sizes and shapes. One of our slogans, one of our key things that I love about this company is that we do good work. And what do I mean by that? When I say we do good work, as a marketing person, marketing folks love slogans. And oftentimes companies have slogans, but they don't match their output, right? You'll see the slogan, you'll hear about it, but then when you look within the community, you don't see that translated. With Synergy, when we say we do good work, it's not just about our experience or the way that we translate your projects into real world solutions. No, within our community also, we do good work. And that's through partnerships with local nonprofits, through local schools, with local government, you name it. What we want to do is make an impact where we're based and also the communities where our employees are. So the we do good work transfers to everything that we do, not just working with our customers, but also in the community which we live. Now back to our topic of the day, smarter marketing execution with Microsoft Planner. Here's the challenge. I've done this, and all my marketing folks out there, I'm sure you've done the same thing. You have a marketing project that you need to get done. Either you whiteboard it, literally whiteboard it, you turn around, you put some lines on the board and you start writing down, okay, here's what the pre-deployment of the campaign is going to look like. Here's what we expect during the deployment, and then post-deployment, here's the things that we're going to assess, see how the campaign was successful or where we can improve on the next round. Trouble is, marketing does not exist as a siloed entity within an organization. It normally has to work with other teams, cross-functional. So then arises the challenges, right? Here you go. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to start your project, and there's going to be other teams outside your organization that you have to work with. You have to share files. You have to collaborate in meetings. You have to take notes. You have to get information and translate that information into content that's going to be consumable by your prospects. But that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of organization. And what I've done over the years is use several different tools. And again, they meet some of the needs, but not all of the needs. What you'll see happen is you'll have files stored in some repository somewhere where you have to, either do an API connection or download the file. So now you've lost version control because you've got a version now on your desktop. You got a version in the cloud. Issues already arising there because each time you save, you got to remember which version did you save it to. Is it the one that's local or the one that's saved on the cloud? Because you need to have it on the cloud so you can share with multiple people. So again, issues there. Other issues with saving it on the cloud is some random cloud, right? And now you don't know the security protocols of that cloud. So issues may arise there where the content at a later point is compromised or someone gets a hold of it, whatever. There's issues there. Secondly, the team that you're working with, are they on that platform? Do they know how to use that platform? You've onboarded a platform, but you're collaborating with multiple teams, and now they don't know how to use the platform, and there's a training gap that's happening there. So now you got to go into a training mode, train folks how to use the platform that they're probably going to use maybe once or twice. You'll celebrate the usage of it for a temporary means, and then later on you'll probably onboard another platform, because as you go through the campaign you'll realize the hurdles of using that platform, and there it goes. Now you've got some other miscellaneous tool within the marketing toolkit that you're probably not going to use. Visibility issues. The project typically has to be overseen by several individuals, not just folks within the marketing team, but executives want to see how the project's proceeding. So how do you give them visibility? How do you give them access to the project deliverables without having to give them a training calendar as well? Because now you have to export out data. You have to, hopefully the software you're using can export out content to show where you are as far as progress in the whole deal. And lastly, the security concerns. This one, marketers don't typically think of security concerns because we're so head down executing on the material. But I've worked with multinational brands, and what happens is when you're trying to work across state lines, countries, you're starting to run into issues of who gets access to what, how long do they have access to it, what do they do once they do get access to it, and then how do you control who's in and out of your files. Microsoft solves all of that with Planner. Because Planner is built on the Microsoft framework, every security protocol that's in Microsoft can then be extended out to Microsoft Planner. So we didn't choose just another project management tool. We didn't just choose another project tool. We chose Planner because as we assessed our needs, we realized we needed something that was integrated directly into our Microsoft platforms already, like Teams and Outlook, that it was governed by Microsoft Enterprise grade security, and it was familiar. That was very key for us. Training tools, goodbye, right? We don't need to go and educate folks on how to use this because it's seamless. It looks and feels just like the other tools that Microsoft has already created that they're already used to using. And so because of that, you can deploy this ready to go solution day one for anyone that's already using Teams. If you're familiar with Teams, you can use Planner. It's that simple. And for us, it wasn't just another app. It extended the value of why we use Microsoft 365. So here's some key benefits that I want to share with you. I've stated some already, but I want to reiterate these. Clear visibility, right? Track all your campaigns elements in one place with a visual board that shows the status at a glance, right? You can see your team members. So one of my favorite views is just to look at each team member to see how overloaded are they? Because sometimes as we're deploying projects, depending on what kind of project it is, a different member of the team can get overloaded with work. And if you're not paying careful attention to it, you may overlook it, you may miss it. So being able to look at the workload directly in Planner, you'll see who's overloaded. You can move things off their plate, allocate it to another team member, and things keep moving. Also, you have built-in accountability. The deadlines, the owners, everyone sees their progress. You can see your team members' progress. You can track it. You can put dependencies so they can see, okay, if I don't get this done on time, it not only affects my work, it's cascading down into other folks. So I need to make sure that I'm meeting these tight deadlines and make sure that I hold myself accountable. Secondly, the seamless collaboration piece. You can assign tasks to one another. You can attach files. You can chat within teams about the project itself without switching on and off. You're already integrated into a solution. So as you're giving each other assignments as as you're chatting. The platform is working on your behalf and making sure that those alerts are going to those team members, that they're getting those notifications, that they see the progress that you're making on your platform, so that you can get back in and make sure that you continue working. And as I stated before, the enterprise grade security. You want to make sure that the content is sensitive. You have the sensitivity labels on there that you can say, okay, you know what, this is internal only. Because we know as we're working on things, there are things that the marketing team is working on that will never see the light of day, right? These are internal documents. They're there for brainstorming. They're there for research. They're there for other means to be able to create the content that's going to be customer facing. So those never need to somehow get out into the wild. By using sensitivity labels, by making sure that you have those security protocols in there, those things, even though if they were accidentally somehow shared, because of the sensitivity labels, because of the way that it's structured, because of the Microsoft security tools, folks who get access to it, they can't open the files. They can't access them because you didn't give them permission to do so. So for me, that's a game changer, right? Because let's be honest, everyone's received a competitor's piece of content, right? Like you've seen it. And when that happens as an organization, it can reveal a lot of things about ongoing plans, past plans, things that you're working on. So you really want to make sure you put gates around your content, that you secure your content so that as your marketing plans are being executed, you're getting the full benefit of that marketing plan. All of the execution is out there, but without the vulnerability, without folks potentially poaching your content or poaching your ideas and then using that as counter marketing. So we want to make sure you have those things in place. The visual workflow for me is great, right? You're able to see color coded wise, okay, this is for digital, this is for print, this is for social media. You can color code these things based off of the project types that they are. So therefore, folks at a glance could see, okay, we've got a ton of things going on social, but we don't seem to have a lot going on in print. So let's go ahead and double down on print and make sure that we have those things secured for our upcoming campaign. Also, you can color code, the months, dates, times, things that are relevant for your team. It's customizable. So you can go in and switch the buckets out and make, you can have hey, let's have a great idea bucket and just throw ideas in there that later on you could come back in and use within your campaign. Also, one of my favorite things to do is to bring in the team and use Microsoft Teams to have meetings, like directly share my screen as I'm working. Hey, why not? Why not bring collaboration into your project planning, right? Especially when you have team members that their skill sets are so direct that the things that they need to inform you to make sure that all of those steps, that maybe the things that you didn't think about, the details that you didn't, insert into their project plan, you insert those to make sure that everything is crossed off so that you have a perfect execution of your campaign. It's you have great big plans, but the details are where typically marketing can fall short, because in those details, missing those small details may create gaps in your marketing execution, may create gaps for your team, may create even frustration for your team, because there's something small that was overlooked, but it had a much greater impact down the line. So you want to make sure you have that in place and you execute against those things. Campaign meetings happen here. So Planner has a whiteboard that allows you to throw stickers on, mark on those stickers. And from the stickers that you're creating on the Planner board, you can collect those and create tasks right from the stickers that you're creating. So it's if you're used to the old school whiteboard with sticky notes on there, it's almost identical to that. It's just a virtual version of that. And for folks that are working with remote teams, this is perfect, right? So you have a remote group of folks that can be anywhere in the world. You're collaborating together. You're creating sticky notes. You're on video call. You're able to share your screen. Everything is housed into one place. Everyone's seeing the same thing. Everyone's on the same sheet of music, and then you execute, right? You're okay, guys, this is great. Let's go with it. Everyone's in agreement. We create tasks off of those things. Next piece, do the same thing and rinse and repeat. And before you know it, you've got an entire plan built out with your team, with their input, and you know that everything that needs to be crossed off will be done. And so that the output of that marketing execution or that plan is, you know, if not 100%, as close to 100% as you can get. Now, task also. So one of my boards, one of the things that I do in the mornings is to look at my task for the day, right? Just go in, just view my task, because we do this. We meaning me, you, everyone, right? You have a busy schedule. So as your day is going on, you're throwing a task, but you threw a task on your board or someone else threw a task on your board, and you didn't get visibility of it until you went back in and checked your task. Oh, okay. I have a group of tasks that's responsible for this. I have another group of tasks here and here and here. This is what I need to get done for today to make sure that we keep things in line. On top of that, Microsoft Planner with their new AI tool added a project manager tool in there. So now, besides your team members, you can assign project manager within Planner task, and you can see it working on those tasks real time. You'll see it, it'll give you details back, and if it needs more information, it'll ask you information to be able to customize and make sure that it's doing the thing that you've asked it to do. Microsoft Planner has Microsoft Copilot embedded into it. And that is a game changer for a lot of folks. I know we talk a lot about AI. It's the era of AI now, but AI that's not intelligent, AI that doesn't work on your behalf, AI that doesn't support your initiatives is just another tool that makes things more cumbersome. I don't want to spend time trying to train my AI. I want my AI to be intuitive, to learn within itself and be able to then give me outputs that's going to be beneficial for me and my team. And Microsoft Copilot, because it's trained on your corporate data, it knows things about your corporation. And so when you're working in Planner and you have a tool like that that's able to extract content and put it into your plans, all of a sudden you feel like you're working at lightning speed. You're doing things that you didn't think could be done in a shorter time frame, and you're executing on plans much faster, which, as all marketers know, we love to demonstrate that back to executives because they see that there's efficiency there. Because marketing sometimes is unfortunately blamed for inefficiencies. But with these tools, that inefficiency is no more. You now have these tools working on your behalf, creating, collaborating with you and with your team. So it's not erasing team members. It's just an added value to a new team member that's being there, that's holding folks accountable, but also in itself executing. I spoke about executives a bit, but I want to talk about the executive lens and why this matters, right? Because again, marketing does not exist in a silo. It's not its own, entity within an organization without any responsibilities to anyone else. You're responsible to the executive level. And so you have to have transparency in how you're building out your content, how you're creating it. When is it going to be done, right? That's always a question, right? So you have dates, times, but then if there's any bottleneck, you need to be able to have that transparency to show to the executive team why and when will these bottlenecks be fixed, right? And so sometimes when you don't have the right tools, that becomes a moment of panic. Not with Planner. There are dashboard reports that you can pull. You can integrate it with Microsoft Power BI. There's other things that you can do so that folks that are outside of your department that needs to have visibility and transparency into it, they get to see all of these things in real time. They can see execution of campaigns, and they don't have to ask you the question, what are you guys doing? What are you all doing? What are you working on? No need. Here's the dashboard. They can drill down into all of the marketing plans, all of the dates and times of execution and when these things are going to go out. And also, if you need to have an approval process, also, this is beneficial because they don't have to be in your planning board to have access to certain things. So let's say you're part of your marketing process is to get to a point where executive leadership has to sign off on certain materials, right? You're going to do a press release, you're going to do some type of global ad or some type of digital ad that you need executive signatures on. Give them access to the process, or give them access to the products that you produce, and let them have visibility on that piece so that they can go in, review, sign off, right? There are check boxes that they can do. There's other ways that you, depending on your SOPs, of course, but that you can execute on so that executive level folks can see what's being worked on. What are you doing? Let me make sure that I sign off on these, and they can approve or disapprove right in Planner, right? So if they don't approve something, it goes back to the drawing board or back to your team to reiterate or to iterate a new version of it, and then again continue the process. You don't have to wait days. They're getting notifications as you're tasking them. So I task my CEO with something, she can see it, she can approve it right then and there, and then let us know whether or not if this is ready to go. That file is ready to go. Our graphic design team, our output team, they produce the final version. They're able to share it with external vendors, and then we get feedback. If there's any, again, feedback from the vendor, we can make sure that we make those changes and get those things back. So again, the speed and efficiency is exponential when it comes to how you're working with these types of tools versus, okay, it's in a box somewhere, I got to go download it. Okay, well, I don't know if that was the version because I did have a version on my desktop that I was working with. The graphic designer is not with us. They're in another tool, so I got to make sure that all of those things, that those bottlenecks, those issues that are typically, part of the marketing workflow, those are eliminated with this process. So it really allows you to focus on executing the project itself and not managing the project. So much energy is usually spent on managing the project that the execution part of actually doing the project part is secondary to just trying to manage the project. It becomes a work of itself. Again, I've spoken about this, but again, I want to make sure that this one is not skipped over. The security and compliance piece, making sure that you have a project management system that understands compliance is key. That is consistent with data retention policies. That's key. That has a unified governance framework. That's key. That has single sign-on security. That's key. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this over the years of folks that have been given access to documents. They're using their personal email addresses to get access to documents. Those documents live in some random cloud somewhere out there. And then later on, that person is no longer part of your team, but their email is still tied to the documents. They still have access to download, and you've lost complete control of your documents. You've lost complete control of your assets, and therefore it creates all sorts of vulnerabilities. For marketing teams handling sensitive customer data, you must, it's not a suggestion. You need to have a tool that has all of these checkboxes in place to make sure that you're protecting your customers' data, that it's not getting in the wrong hands, and it's not being spread around your organization without your control. If the customers trust you with that data, you need to put a tool in place that secures that data and use it only for the things that it was designed for and nothing else. And once you're done with that data, it is put someplace that is secure or it is removed so folks don't get access to it. Again, making sure that you're compliant with all of those things that you've set out in your SOPs, but then that you're seeing it being delivered in real time. I don't want to bash any software out there. I believe that every software developer is out there doing the best work to make sure that they create tools that are beneficial for multiple teams. Here's the problem. Oftentimes, these software developers are creating tools they're trying to be comprehensive. They're trying to create a tool that's so universal that it meets so many different needs that by the time it gets to you, it's a nightmare. It's a Frankenstein, right? I don't know if any of you have ever used other tools that are so cumbersome, so complex that the moment you show it to your marketing team, they said, oh no, we're not using this. Because by just looking at it, they can see how complicated the tool is, and that reduces the use of that tool and therefore the efficacy of it, right? It's dead on arrival, right? It's not gonna move forward. So therefore, it's key that you find a tool that works best for your team. My success story, the thing that I want to share with you all is that I've done all these things. I've done these horror stories I'm telling you about. It's not something that's, that I've heard through the grapevine. No, this is stuff that I've lived through. And what I'm telling you right now is that when you have a tool like this, the excuses are gone, but also the headaches are gone. I used this tool. This is going to make me sound old, but back in the early early 2020s, this tool, it sounded great up front. My team deployed it and we were excited to use it. We spent probably a good week or two aligning our strategies and building it out within. And of course, the tool had tutorials, it had videos, and it had all of the bells and whistles that, from a marketing perspective, when they're advertising, it's all there. So we onboard this tool, we start to use it, and within about a month or so, the usage went from like 80% to 60. 2-3 months later, usage went from 60 to 40. And as we're looking at it, the reason why the tool is not being used, number one, it's not sitting within our organization. It's a new tool. There's some learning curves, right? There's some issues with each member of the team and how they use it. And because it's such a robust platform, each person was using it in such a manner that the other team member couldn't understand their workflow. So it was very universal, but when it came to being able to work in a collaborative manner, because each member of the team was given so much access to design the tool the way that they wanted to, when they were sharing their boards, no one could understand, no one could figure out what was the next thing that they needed to do. So sooner or later, we realized that tool was not going to be the tool that we continue to move forward with. We went forward and we started bare bones again. We went to Microsoft to-do list. We just were doing basic to-dos. Like, okay, here's your daily task. You make sure, just because we need to keep things moving. We have to get things moving forward. So let's just do a simple to-do task list. And every day we just check that list. But to-do lists can get pretty long, and they get a little out of control. And before you know it, we've got to-do lists that are, 26, 36 lines long of to-do lists. And it even though it may not be a complex project, but visually, you give someone a to-do list of 40 to 50 objects, and all of a sudden they realize that their day is visually, they just think that they're overwhelmed, right? That there's too much to do. Within Planner, we found that not only we can have tasks, but within the tasks, we can have simple to-do lists within those tasks. So visually looking at the task, you see it, it's simple to use, you get it done, you execute, you move forward. Folks are loving the tool. I have heard zero complaints. My team executes on projects, and we are able to demonstrate value to not just our executive leadership, but to our customers, right? We're able to deploy content at a pace that's not seen before. Our content strategy is awesome because we're able to go through and look through the minutia of details of making sure everything is checked off, right? There's no gaps in our execution. So it's just been a win-win for us. So for you, where do you go from here? What's your next step? What do you do after hearing all of this? Number one, identify your gaps. You need to do an assessment and figure out where you are as far as your organization, what's going on, and do you really need, more tools? Is your the things I just talked to you about, does your tools do those things? Can you rely on the current tools that you have to do those things? Do they meet the need of your marketing team, your team that's executing? And then do they meet the needs of your organization? And do they meet the needs of your customers? If those three things are not there, then it's time for an assessment. It's time for you to reassess what it is that you're doing and when is this the best tool? Are you really using all of the tools that Microsoft provides? a lot of customers that we've talked to, they have the tools and they're out there purchasing new tools. They don't even know that they have these tools accessible to them. And so they're just stacking on more technology, and there's redundancies within their technology stack, and they're paying for things that they don't even need to pay for. So again, might be time for you to do an assessment just to look at where you are within the organization. Are you double stacked? Do you have things that you just are not using and that could be saving your organization some money? So let's talk and see if we can help you there. And then once you do your assessment, if you identify the gaps, you want to start using Planner, talk to us. We do productivity assessments. We look through and find ways to help organizations, figure out their workflow. We'll work with you to build your project plan, make sure that those things are ready to go. So what can I say? Schedule a demo, talk to our staff, reach out to us, email us, and then we'll be able to walk you through, show you not just Planner. Planners is literally when you look at Microsoft 365, the stack of tools that's in that product set, it's amazing. Planner is just one tool that I wanted to highlight today. But if you really want to get, the full gamut and see what's out there, what you're able to do with Planner, with Teams, with Power BI, with compliance, talk to us, reach out to us. This is Xavier with Synergy Technical. Thank you for your time.